All right, here we go again. This is welcome back, YouTube. This is the fourth video of my collection as of 2024. So let's get right to it because it's a lot to cover. Here we go. It's the AD10. It's a special edition in titanium and 3V. I think Midway was the one that sold this knife. It might be a Midway exclusive. Awesome, heavy duty knife, just incredibly strong. Love this knife. This is a Boca Plus. This was a gift for Christmas a couple of years ago, and it's in D2 steel, so I'm not really sure much about it, but it's nothing I purchased, but it was a gift. This is just a freebie knife that I got from a local store. Pretty crappy. I don't know why I even included it. This knife is called the October. It's a Kizer knife. I got it because I wanted something in a 20 CV and titanium at the time. I think that was pretty popular, the steel, and I wanted something to stick in my motorcycle jacket that was rust proof. I don't carry this knife anymore. I don't really like that knife. This is a Sharper by Image Mini Evo. It's a fantastic knife, and I haven't done a review on this one, but it's coming real soon. I'll be doing that for sure. Love that knife. These are my three McNees knives. I'm not a fan of McNees, quite honestly. I know it's sacrilegious to say that, but here's the. And why did I buy three? I don't know. This is a automatic version in titanium. It is a really horrible knife. The blade is, there's no point to this knife. The tip actually is rounded. I don't know. I don't really like an automatic knife. I purchased it. I think it was my first automatic knife I ever purchased, so I experimented with it. This is the 3-inch version of the PM Mac 2. This actually sliced my finger up pretty good. I had it in my pocket. I was hiking one day and I reached into my pocket and it just sliced my finger open. I got it because it's blue and I figured that it would hide really well in my jean pockets at work. And it's just something I just never really carried. I've owned it for 3 years now, 4 years, 3 years. This is the first McNees knife that I purchased, and it is a guillotine. It drops shut. Like, you got to be real careful about this thing dropping on your finger. I've tried to tighten it a little bit, and it got too tight, and then it's too tight or too loose, or I don't know. This is the original version of it where there's like no gap in between. This is a great knife in theory. It's got a great blade to handle ratio. It's really well received. People love it. I don't know. It doesn't really speak to me. I have it, but here goes my Gringo. So I have a couple of Kunwu knives. This is a most recent addition to the collection. It's the Gringo. This thing is the one that reminds me of the Tier. If you watch my first video in this series, you'll see the Tier. This is a great knife. It's an S390 steel, which is it's hardened to, I think, 66 HRC, so it's pretty incredible. It's a big knife, great ergonomics to it. I've carried it a little bit. I just got it, so I carried it a little bit, and I love that knife. But here's my Padre. This is a special edition Padre. It's an REC special edition, all DLC. Padre, I think, is probably, if I had to pick one knife that I had to live with and one knife only, this probably would be the knife. It's got a great belly. I love this sheep's foot with the point to it. It's just like a modified sheep foot. I don't even know. I don't want to get into debate of what this blade shape is, but it is in Vanek steel. It's pretty much, rust resistant, I'm going to say. I'm not really sure about these the fasteners here. I don't know what kind of steel they are, but the bodies, the scales are titanium. The steel is rust proof. It's Vanex. I'm just, the hardware itself, I'm not really sure what it's made out of, but it's a DLC coating to it. I'm not a huge fan of DLC coating. It's fine. This knife doesn't need it. It's stainless. It's a stainless steel. I'm not sure why I needed it, but it was the only one I could get. I wanted the Padre so bad, and that was the first one that was available that I could purchase, so I purchased it. This is the Compadre, so this is a smaller version of the Padre. It's in Vanek steel also. It's got great action. It's awesome. It's ergonomic. Love that blade shape. This is a good sized knife. I normally like a bigger knife, but this knife actually feels pretty good in my hand. I really enjoy that one. Here's the S-Tau. So it's a flipper knife, a rear flipper, and a front flipper. It's the first front flipper knife I ever got. It's also in Vanek steel. I think I just prefer this steel. I love Vanek steel. Anyway, great ergonomics, great action, great knife. Here's a Sog. When I first got back into collecting knives, this is actually the very first knife I purchased. It is, let me look it up. It is a pen arc, and it's in VG10. So I just, I had some REI dollars because I'm a camper. Pardon me. I had some REI dollars left over, and because every year you get a kickback from what you spend, and I wanted to get into knives. I had a knife that I found. Let me pull it out. So I purchased this knife here. It's an old timer, and what is it called? It's an old timer 51 OT, and I found it in a box. I was unpacking the house, and I found it in a box, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember buying this knife in the late 1970s. Carried this a whole bunch, as a kid and a young adult, and even in college. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get back into knives. So basically, I purchased this Sog. It was the first knife that I purchased after the 1970s, I think. There was one other knife, but that was a long time ago. But anyway, so I got this knife. It's okay, but I've moved on to much better knives. Here's another Sog. I don't know what they call this one, but I got this as a free promotional knife when, not because I'm a knife channel, but because I spent so much money at some retailer, and if you spent over, I think like $200, you got the flavor of the week knife. So that was this knife right here. It's a assisted opening knife. It's got a lock to it and all that, but it's got plastic scales. It's really not something I would have purchased otherwise, but it was free, so I'll take it. This is a Benchmade Super Freak in M4 steel. So it's like a special version of this knife, but you can get it on the regular. But I'm not sure what the regular knife comes in, but this one here is not the regular one. It's an okay knife. I like it, but I like I like this knife a little bit better, quite honestly. These are both great knives, but I just haven't, because this knife is an M4 steel. It's not stainless, and I prefer stainless steel. Even though this is probably superior cutter, and it's harder, longer edge retention than 20 CV and whatever. I just prefer stainless steel. That's just me. This is a SHOT Show special of the Adamas, Benchmade Adamas. It's in a. It's hard for me to work on the camera, so if I look a little spastic, I'm sorry. But this is like I say, a SHOT Show special Adamas. It's in crew wear. It's an awesome knife. It's got a great thick handle to it. Feels amazing in the hand. It's a great knife. I really enjoy that. I love the action. Here's the 940 Osborne, Benchmade 940 Osborne, classic knife. I've got a short on this video, on this knife, and I'm going to release a video real soon because it's been getting a lot of views, even the short. So it's aluminum scales to it. I was trying to get the 941. I'll probably buy that one. I think the carbon fiber one. Here's the Sog Hogue knife. I think it's called like RSK1 or whatever it's called. This is the 3-inch version to it. When I say 3-inch, we're talking about the blade steel. This is a smaller version to it. It's in 20 CV. Great knife. And here's a larger version of it. The 3.5-inch knife, I believe. Awesome, awesome knife. Highly recommend this knife. If you want a decent knife, you don't want to spend a lot of money, but you want to spend enough to get a great knife, this is the knife I would recommend. I think now they're making this knife in Magna Cut. The one I have is in 20 CV, but so the prices might go up a little bit. I'm not even sure, but this is like a $160 knife the last time I looked. So who knows what it is now, but it should be close to that. This is a Hogue Deca. This is one of the first Magna Cut blades I had. It might be the second one. It is like a really thin and light knife, super concealable. It's got a worn clip, or it's a modified worn clip. I don't know why I say modified, but because it's got a compound grind to it, so that's modified. Who knows? But it's a great knife. It's like a Hogue version of the bug out, of the Benchmade bug out. Good knife right there. This is a MicroTech Bravo. It's made in China. I got this one because it's a tip-up knife. It's a version of this MicroTech here, but this is a tip-down, and I don't like tip-down knives. It's a MicroTech Elite. So this has got great action. It's made by Riot, and I'm pretty sure it's Riot. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's got a nice weight to it. I like a heavy knife. Great weight to it. It's got carbon fiber. The details on this knife is amazing, and the action's amazing, and it's a real thick knife. Look at that tip. It's an amazing tip to it. It is a tactical knife. I got the this version of the knife. I really enjoy this knife. The only thing is, the pocket clip on this knife actually sucks, so I carried it for a little while until I just got really tired of this pocket clip. So I haven't carried this knife in a long time. But like I said, I got it because it was tip up, because I like this knife, but it was tip down. And even though I got this to replace this, I don't like this one because the pocket clip sucks. Right? Live and learn. So this is the MicroTech SOCOM Elite. It is a tip down knife, which I don't like. I don't like carrying it. And it's got a severe double clutch that I really don't like that at all about this knife. I wanted to like this knife, but there's a lot not to like about this knife. At one point, it was very, very difficult to find. I think now you can find it a little bit easier. But it's not a knife that I carry at all, I don't think. I might have carried it once or twice, and I just don't carry it. Here we go. This is a MicroTech Stitch. I love this knife. It's got a real interesting blade to it. It's a Borker style blade. That's the designer. It is super sharp. This thing is just wicked. It's a really thick blade stock, so if you were to use it, it would leave a pretty severe wound channel. It's got a great little banana clip to it. It conforms to your hand. It's amazing. It's got a ram lock to it, which ram locks had problems with it earlier on. This is an early version, but I never had a problem with this thing, the spine collapsing on it. You could do a spine test on this knife, and the blade would collapse closed, but mine has never done that. This here is a Wii Atour. So it actually kind of reminds me of, this knife here. You can see the sweep of the handle. It's very, very similar. This is a very thin knife. It's an integral. I like this knife. It feels really good. It's very stylistic. I think it would be more stylistic than practical. It doesn't have any jimping. I'm not reviewing this knife, but So anyway, this is, like I said, a Wee knife, an integral knife. And here's another Wee knife. This is the Azenta. It's another integral knife. Love the finish of this knife. It has like a Bowie style blade in my mind. And it's nice and heavy. It's a real big knife. Love this knife.